The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
A lot of us probably assume that in the U.S., if you're just driving around, maybe not wearing your seatbelt, and you get pulled over, you're probably not going to end up having the government tell you to take all of your clothes off and to lift your genitals. I think that's an assumption a lot of people probably make, Lewis.
Right.
However, it would be a wrong assumption. There is no guarantee of that in this particular case, especially not since the Supreme Court ruled this week that even minor offenses do not still allow, rather, according to the Constitution, the full body cavity search, the strip search of people, not full body, no insertion, Lewis, but a strip search of people, even if it's a minor infraction. And this is according to the court's 5-4 ruling in what I think, is it fair to call it a deeply humiliating procedure?
That's one way to describe it.
To have to bend, let's say you're driving with no seatbelt and it ends up that you have to bend over and spread your cheeks and cough.
Right. I don't know if there's any coughing involved, but yeah.
No, there's coughing. I think that would be...
I think coughing is just for like certain types of prostate checks and other things.
No, believe me, there's coughing. So this could become a standard law enforcement tactic. The case came up because Albert Florence was pulled over by New Jersey state troopers. He was driving to his parents' house with his wife and his young son. The trooper arrested him for having failed to pay a fine, even though it turned out he had actually paid it. But let's put that aside for a second. Florence was thrown into Essex County Correctional Facility, which has now a strip search policy for all new arrestees, anybody who goes in there for any reason. Now remember, Florence was actually wrongfully arrested. He had paid his fine. Mm-hmm. Florence had not violated the law. He was subjected to disrobing, lifting his genitals for the guards to show that he was not hiding anything, and coughing in a squatting position. Like I told you, Lewis, coughing is a part of it. He also said he was strip searched 2 times. What's your thought on that, Lewis?
I cannot even begin to comment on the absurdity of this.
After he was released, Florence sued, arguing that the strip search, a strip search of people arrested for minor offenses violates the 4th Amendment. Now, there's a lot of support for that view, okay? And that strip searches are an extreme measure. The government should only do it when there is reason to believe that there is the concealment of weapons, drugs, or other contraband. Even the American Correctional Association, which is the oldest and the largest association in the world on issues of correction, has a standard saying strip searches should only take place when there is individualized suspicion. And law enforcement groups, including the U.S. Marshals and Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, adhere to this standard. A lot of courts said the same thing, Lewis, that it is an extreme measure that should not apply to people brought in for these minor offenses. But the Supreme Court says even people charged with minor crimes, even with no specific reason to think that they're concealing a thing, can be strip searched and forced to lift genitalia and forced to cough while squatting.
Okay, so clearly what's going on here is that most law enforcement agencies, divisions, whatever, ignore this. And they
have a different policy.
Yeah. I mean, it's still up to each one of those outfits to have their own policy on this. But if they wanted to,
it opens up the door to doing something to give people difficulty, and they're constitutionally protected. Yeah, Natan.
Yeah, I was just going to say there's something else, which is, I think it was Alito who said in his opinion that a limiting principle here should be that this will only be legal, these types of searches, when you're brought into the general prison population, as opposed to just being held in a jail or in a cell somewhere separately.
Sure.
However, the fact that they don't take into account that a lot of people who are being arrested for these minor crimes, for the fact that they're minor crimes, or the fact that they might be innocent and then be subjected to this.
Sure.
The fact that they say, oh, no, we have nothing to do with that. That's a problem with police officers and the police force. I think that's pretty naive and disingenuous.
It is totally naive. And I actually thought that Justice Stephen Breyer made the important argument, if you look at the dissenter's opinion on this. And he said being forced to get naked and be stared at by strangers is inherently humiliating and degrading. And then he actually set out a lot of the disturbing ways that the government has used this power, including to strip naked a nun who had served for 50 years as a Sister of Divine Providence when she was arrested for an anti-Vietnam War protest, Lewis. Certainly not any place where we would assume that there are concealment of contrabands taking place.
No. So clearly, like you said, this is one of those situations in which people who did not like the person they arrested decided to make things difficult by any legal means.
Exactly, and it goes even further. Breyer also noted the kinds of offenses that people have committed and then led to their being strip searched, including driving with a noisy muffler, failing to use a turn signal, and riding a bicycle with no audible bell. I think the bottom line on this is the Supreme Court at this point really, between the healthcare situation that's taking place, corporate personhood, we really should be very concerned, I think, about the Supreme Court. And as we know, more and more indications that this is just yet another political arm of the government able to be bought and sold. It's just nothing new.
Of course. Look who appoints all the members of the Supreme Court.
Speaking of strip searches, if we strip searched Justice Clarence Thomas, I bet we would find some Koch brothers money.
Or some coke?
No, I don't think so. We have no evidence of that.
All right. Well, I'm sure there's plenty of money to be found if we start digging.
There you go.